Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me. And I would like, as always, ask for people to type in something. This is recent well, not made. I uploaded a series of nutritional videos. So some of you are interested in this. I got a lot of comments and messages. The videos have very good positive feedback in general, and it looks like it's something that I can help people with. So again, can I ask, can you comment if you can hear me, because I don't see everyone's saying hello. Just tell yes, I can hear you. Just type in yes, I can hear you. I just need to know that you guys can hear. Okay. So the videos basically talked about, you know, what's good about sugar, what's bad about sugar. There's nothing good about sugar, but great. Okay, you can hear me. So the videos were about sugar and how bad it is. It's just an overview. I made these videos a few years ago. They re-uploads from my older channels. But there's also one about caffeine. There's now I've just uploaded one about calories, that kind of stuff. So it's basically my view on what I think about these substances. Now, recently I've talked to a lot of you on my psychedelic channel about what I know about nutrition from a metaphysical point of view. That's not about that. This podcast is strictly about food from a very pragmatic, very realistic point of view. So basically, we'll talk about the earthly stuff. We'll talk about the food in our lives, what it does, and it's basically for me to answer your questions. Now, before I start, just want to let you know that I'm recording this on my phone. If we have any problems, you can come back here later to us previously. Then I'll re-upload it from my phone. But I hope everything stays okay and you'll be able to listen to it. A few of you told me that you don't want to listen to those podcasts because they're too long. I just wanted to know that you can always save the video in your favorites, and then you'll be able to just listen to it, when you have an hour or how long we'll be talking for. So just save it for later and then listen to it, because this will be beneficial to you. This will be quite important. So I hope that you get to listen to the whole thing. There'll be many questions and there'll be many things I'll also talk about my credentials on nutrition in a moment. But yeah, the other thing I can suggest is, if you want to listen to this while you're doing your chores or while you're going, I don't know, do some groceries, if you want to do shopping, if you're cleaning the house, whatever, and you want to listen to it on your phone, you can download a Brave browser app, and then you can listen to this on Brave. It's B-R-A-V, B-R-A-V. I have spelling problems. And then there's an option in Brave where you can switch it to play in the background, and then you can just lock your phone and it will still play in the background. So Brave is a great browser for your phone, and you can listen to the podcast for an hour while you're doing something else. So this is just a tip if you want to listen to it in full. I want you to do now, I'll of the diabetes I had in the comments. I'll talk about this in a moment. I want you to think about what, and then type it in and tell me what it is that you want to know from me, what type of questions I can answer. I've already had a lot of them over the email and on other platforms, but think about your questions and just type them as I'm talking now, so that I can go back now. If it's your first time, then this is how it works. I'm talking, you type in your questions, that I go back to the chat and I read them and then I answer them. What else do I need to talk about first? Please go to Instagram and go to Instagram Peter Hedron. I know there's a lot of funny stuff that I'm posting there. There's a lot of stuff that goes viral, actually, which is quite interesting. But I'll be using that platform also to inform you about videos when I upload them. I'm still battling censorship from YouTube and other platforms on my other YouTube channels, and it's getting annoying. So I had to come up with a new one, but also Peter Hedron will have its own life. So please do that when you have a moment. it's everywhere. Every video description, you'll find it, especially in the last ones. Please, if you can, please donate. There'll be links in the video description for this one too. If you can help me, this is obviously a lot of my life that I'm putting into these videos, a lot of my research, years of experimenting, that kind of stuff. And if you feel like this is something that helped you and you want to say thank you, then please donate. Please join, subscribe to or Patreon, CashApp, and then bank transfers and cryptocurrency. So that would be much appreciated. Will help me a lot. Now, I just want to make sure that we talk only about food. So there's nothing else. We just talk nutrition, health, and food. This is the purpose of this podcast. Now, you would like to probably know why I'm talking about this, what my credentials are. And, I would say that I know a lot about nutrition. I spent more than 10 years experimenting with food. I spent a lot of time working on a perfect, like an optimal human diet, and I figured it out. And there's a lot of history I would need to present to you, but bottom line is I know a lot because I actually started working on a book. The book is almost finished. I need to re-edit it, and I'll publish it probably next year. I'll work on it soon. And it's a very interesting book. The book is so interesting that I sent it to 80 publishers, and all of them said no. Every single one of them said no. They're not interested in publishing this book. And I started talking to some of them, and they said this is too well, no, they didn't use the word dangerous, but they said we try to steer away from content like this. And then what they basically were saying is truth. It's too truthful. We would be getting ourselves in a lot of conflict of interest with our they're associated with. It's basically me talking about what the food industry is doing to our health. And most of my videos that I made years ago, like there's one video about a lab test that I did for tap water, and that went viral with millions of views all over the world, and it was a very controversial video. But funnily enough, mainstream media hasn't touched it. Like they wouldn't even get close to it. Like they talk about stuff. I made many videos that went viral. I have like a total of 70 million views of all my videos on other channels. They wouldn't touch this one. Like they wouldn't get even close to it. So as always, there's always something weird going on when people don't want to talk to you about stuff. So that's the reason why the book wasn't published. But now I have you guys, and now I can offer the book to you. So this will be published soon, and everybody will benefit from it. There's a lot of information that you can benefit from, basically. But the thing is that everything you know about food is not true. Like the whole nutrition system is a scam. Like big pharma, there's also big food. There's only like 5 or 6 companies that run the whole show. And they have subsidiaries that look like separate brands, but it's all one, and they all use the same ingredients. And the best example is obviously just look at what your food is made of. It's pretty much wheat, sugar, and then you have some fats, which are usually not natural fats. They usually, hydrogenated fats, artificial fats. They use things like palm oil, which is incredibly dangerous to your health. The same with rapeseed oil. I don't know if we pronounce it rapeseed or rapeseed oil. I think it's rapeseed oil. This is also very unhealthy. And our food is basically just a big joke. And, there's a reason why half of us will get cancer in our lifetime. I mean, 50% of us will get cancer, which is crazy. This is a crazy ratio. And you can only just realize what is it that we're doing to ourselves. And all of this made me think, because I always wanted to stay healthy. I have a very fragile immune system. Like my immune system is a great barometer, just basically a great compass to where I should go with nutrition. And I learned quickly how to treat my body to get the best results and how to get the most health out of my body. And I've spent years doing that. And now I know there's a lot of stuff that I learned just trial and error. And some experiments were really bad. Some experiments, there was one thing that I did that cost me 6 months of health. I had health problems I never had, and that was me cleansing my body from heavy metal detox, and that worked. It actually worked. I used cilantro and some other herbs, And it turned out I had a huge amount of mercury in my body, and it all started getting out of my system. Unfortunately, what I didn't know is that when you do any type of detox for heavy metals, you need to use some sort of a bonding agent, something that the heavy metals should bond with. So when they leave your system, when they leave your tissue, they should attach themselves to something so they don't re-enter your system. I didn't know that. And all those metals did re-enter my system, and I got really sick. I got sick to a point where I looked like a zombie. Like I had skin problems, like my skin was almost falling off of my face. It was a nightmare for 6 months. I got every possible disease. So it's really bad. But now I know, and now I can tell you about this. And apparently one of those agents that you can use to bond heavy metals to is, I think, is spirulina, or what's the other one? I don't remember. I think it's spirulina or something else. Wheatgrass powder. I'm not sure. But basically, you need to make sure that you use something else that you can help your body fix itself. Because once those heavy metals re-enter your bloodstream, then they will be toxic again. You'll get all of those negative effects of them all over again. And it's something no one will tell you. Like, it took me a long time to find this. Like everyone's saying about, oh, do the detox and do this, do that. They're right. There are like herbs and minerals that help you pull heavy metals out of your bones. Yes, bones. You wouldn't believe, but they're in your bones. Out of your brain. And I think, where else do they? There are a few other places like muscle tissue, not that much, but I think skin is one of the organs. And once they get pulled out of those organs, no one tells you what happens next. And if you do a really good job at detoxifying your system, then, oh, you're opening Pandora's box. All the hell breaks loose and you will get really, really sick. But, you know, that's the type of a trial and error experiments that I did that were very beneficial to my health. And also I was able to learn a lot, and it was amazing. So there's a question, what are heavy metals? Well, everything that you're not supposed to have in your body. I'm talking aluminum, I'm talking mercury. There are things that we don't even know that are in our systems. There are things that are in the environment and our food, but it gets to us through food, tap water, that kind of stuff. We don't really know what we're doing. One of the funny things that I learned was that they recently found in Antarctica rocket fuel in ice, which means that those compounds that are used to create rocket fuel are now everywhere. And it's the same with plastic, for example. So it's affecting the whole food chain and the whole food distribution system. It's not just your tap water, your food, but it's everywhere. So, okay. We'll talk about this. So first question was about diabetes. I need to go back just to see if that was, yeah, diabetes. Now, I'm as I told you many times before, my body type is ectomorph, so it's very skinny. I'm not at risk of diabetes because I cannot gain fat tissue. Now, the way you get overweight is you need to early in your life get a lot of fat tissue. It needs to grow. So your fat tissue grows only, from what I know, it grows very early in your life and then it ends growing. It doesn't grow again. That's what I heard. Basically, if you do not grow your fat tissue when you're a child, then there's a very low probability of you being overweight when you get older, because there's no fat tissue. Now, people who get overweight are those who already created the fat tissue and the fat cells, and these fat cells can only absorb material and they expand. So when you gain weight, you don't create new fat cells, apparently, you only expand the existing ones. So if you take care of your children and you make sure that they have healthy food as children for the first 20 years of their lives, then there's very little chance that they'll be overweight when they grow up. So it's very important to understand how all of this works. Now, what I can tell you about diabetes from what I read, the most important thing is that it's reversible, apparently. I've heard that the diet that I'm promoting very often, I mean promoting in a way that I'm talking about, that I'm propagating, the monkey diet. So basically 90 to 95% plant-based raw food, and then 5 to 10% animal foods. And if you do this, you could reverse diabetes. Now, there is a list that I created with all the best types of foods that will provide the best nutrients. I will upload it in the video description, so come back to it and I'll let you download it if you haven't done it yet. It's an amazing list of what I did. Is basically I went into every vitamin and every micronutrient, and I found which foods have the highest levels of it. And I just compiled the list of all these foods. It's 4 pages, and basically, if you eat these foods, then you'll stay healthy and you'll get the most nutrient, most dense nutrient-filled food. And I'll upload it later. I actually forgot. I was supposed to do it before the podcast, but I'll do it later, and then you can come back to it. It's amazing. So diabetes is reversible, from what I heard. Now, the doctors will not tell you this because they want you to have diabetes because pharma wants you to be sick. There's no money in curing people from diseases. There's only money in maintaining people in their, what do they say? They say a cured patient is a lost customer, and that's pretty much how it works. Their job is to make sure that you don't get well, that you don't get healthy. It's the same with cancer, everything else, because they make so much money on it. It's just a money-making machine. It's business like everything else. There's no human emotions involved in this, and it's just profit. And I'm saying this because I worked for it's so embarrassing, I can tell you now. I worked for one of the biggest pharmaceutical corporations in the world. I worked for them from within. I was basically hiring people for them. And the things I saw there and the way they think, it's absolutely... And it's not that money, and they'll find... And if it's whether through, obviously, me is bought, and many governments are bought, and I couldn't take it. I worked for them only a few months, and I just oh, hold on. It says that. Okay, I hope you can hear me. It says that it's unstable. Yeah, so it was a very eye-opening experience. I worked for them. I don't want to give you the name, but it's funny because it's a company closely connected with psychedelics historically. It's very bizarre how it happened in my life. I'll talk about this one day. But yeah, they're evil. Trust me. I worked for them, and they're evil. So yeah, diabetes is probably reversible. Now, the way diabetes works is that once you start creating insulin and glucose spikes in your blood, it's basically you causing artificially your insulin levels to go up and down. Those fluctuations cause, I think it's called insulin exhaustion. I'm not a doctor. I'm not sure how it works. But from what I read, it's basically your body not being able to control this insulin balance anymore in your body, and then you need to inject it. Now, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy that we can do it to ourselves. And even more crazy is that we do it to our pets now. Our pets, our dogs and cats, have the same diseases as humans. And you can only open your eyes and make you realize what it is that we're doing to ourselves if our pets get it. Now, I would strongly recommend for everybody who is diabetic or someone who has people who are diabetic in their family, read about natural methods of reversing diabetes. It is possible. From what I know, it's possible. So yeah, that's something that I was very surprised by, and something that it's shocking. It's absolutely outrageous the way everything's working in our society. But if you don't know what's happening, you always need to follow the money, right? It's always a matter of profit. And these companies, I've been in those meetings, I've listened to them talk, and I swear to God, these people were talking about profit as if human life was just one of their commodities. Like they could put it from one shelf to another. When it comes to the number of deaths, it's the same with, I'm not sure if you know this about airline industry. When a new plane is being produced, for, I think the number is, I might be wrong, but I think for every 500,000 flights, there's a certain amount of people that are allowed to die in plane crashes. So when they create a plane, they take into account that they will crash, and they have this amount of people dying calculated into plane production. It's already taken care of. Once they release a plane, they know that they will crash, some of them, and there's a certain amount of planes that are allowed to crash. The same with pharmaceutical company and nutrition companies. It's calculated risk. So when they release something, they know how many people will get sick from it, how many people will have to go to hospitals, how many people will die. It's a part of this. They know about this. So basically, when they go to a meeting, they try to mitigate this risk against the profit. And it's basically just tipping the scale, just trying to make sure that the balance is okay, that it doesn't cause too much outrage. And it's mind-boggling that they're allowed to do this. I have no idea how it's possible. I hope this changes, that they all get arrested, because it's criminal what they're doing. And it's the same with food. Food is exactly the same. I know that the diabetes numbers are alarming because, from what I know, my numbers come from the United States. Like, America is probably one of the best countries when it comes to doing the research. There's, it's America. America has everything out in the open. You can find out everything you want. So I heard on one of the Joe Rogan podcasts, there was a guy who talked about diabetes. He said that in 2040, America and its health budget will be completely broke. They said by 2040, there'll be so many people with diabetes that there will be no money left to cure them. Apparently, one person, I think it costs like $40,000 annually, $40,000 to treat them, not cure them, just treat them. And they calculated the increase in the amount of new patients and then how much money they have. It turns out they'll run out of money in about 20 years, that there'll be no money left to treat people. So yeah, this will be interesting to see how it goes, but it's your job to make sure that diabetes is not your problem. Now, there's one thing I want to make sure that you understand. Your health is your responsibility. You need to take care of yourself. You need to make sure that you do what's best for you, and no doctor can save you. The amount of people who die from medical mistakes and just medical malpractice is, I think it's higher than car accidents. And I think the next on the list, so this first one is suicide. I don't remember this one. I think the next one is heart attacks. The next one is malpractice, medical malpractice, and that includes wrong type of drugs being administered. So basically, pharma is more deadly than everything else that can happen to you in your life, like plane crashes, car crashes, all taken together. Pharmaceutical industry is more deadly than that. So you need to make sure that you never have to go to a doctor. Trust me. I've seen many things in my life, and I made a video recently on Peter Hedron about reincarnation, and this video exists because the doctors gave my mom the wrong medicine, or they didn't give her the medicine for her thyroid post-operation procedure. So they made a mistake. She almost died. I have many people in my family who died because of doctors' mistakes. So the best thing you can do is to never see a doctor. As they say, one apple a day keeps the doctor away. But it's in your hands. You're supposed to take care of your health, and you do this through nutrition, through your lifestyle, and basically through your ability to think positively and be. You need to be smart about yourself in your life. If you're not, if you just let people control you, you will be one of their statistics. You'll become a statistic, and these statistics look very bad. They're not really, they're not good. Unfortunately, the state of our medical system and nutritional system is horrible. It's really not good. So make sure you do the right thing and take care of yourself. Now, let's go to your questions. So the first one was about diabetes. Let's see what else we have here in the chat. Let's be, you guys said that you can hear me. Sorry, it's a bit slow, so I'm trying to find. So you're asking where the podcast is located. Brave. No, it's. I was talking Ian, I was talking about a Brave browser that you can download to your phone, but you'll be able to listen to it later. What are my thoughts on wheatgrass and spirulina? Wheatgrass is pretty much just grass. It's overrated. Wheatgrass is nothing more than just grass. Obviously, it's much better than eating anything else that the man has touched. Like, if you want to eat a bag of candy or a bag of chips, then you better eat wheatgrass powder. You drink it, but there's nothing amazing about it. It's just, other than chlorophyll. It depends how you can grow your own wheatgrass. One of the videos that I made, sugar. There's an experiment with adding soda to wheatgrass. So you can grow it easily. It's not difficult. I used to eat it, but it didn't make much difference. It's one of the things you can add to your smoothies. Nothing that caught my eye, over the years. There's a big hype because it's well available, and yeah, that's it. That's pretty much all there is to it. It's just grass. You can eat it and be healthy. But there's nothing. It's not a superfood. Spirulina, on the other hand, there's a lot of information about spirulina, and now I don't know if it's spirulina, whether it's, what's the other one? So the problem with spirulina is that it's a recent invention from what I know, and I heard that the cells of spirulina are very difficult to break. And there's only a handful of companies who know how to do it right. So basically, spirulina will be available in many forms, just basically powder from China you buy on eBay, mainly. And it won't have any effect on you because the cells of, the walls of the cell will not be broken. And it won't be possible for those cells to release all the micronutrients from the inside. That's what I read. So apparently, if you eat spirulina that hasn't been processed correctly, it just goes through your intestines, through your system, without giving you any benefits. And by the way, it's super gross. I don't know how people drink spirulina because it's so disgusting. But again, I tried it and I'm not convinced. But, well, maybe if it's still better than regular food. So yeah, if anything, you can do this. It's also not on my list of superfoods. So yeah, those are my thoughts. What else can we? No, it says, "Can you get out of the sun? Because I look a little red." Yeah. I just, I don't want to show my face. It doesn't really make any difference, and it only complicates things. I was public for many years. My videos have my face all over the internet, and it doesn't matter really. Because I have other channels which are a bit controversial. I don't want people to match my face to, with the face recognition software, you can find out everything about me if you can find my face now. And by the way, be aware of that with now I can use internet to find anything about you. If I have your picture, now it's possible to find you. This is something you need to be aware of. Going back to the food, so get out of the sun. Talking about sun, this is not about nutrition, but one of the things that you need to know, sun exposure is extremely important. And I have a dermatologist in my family. It's as important as food. And they confirmed that the problems with skin cancer started when people started sitting indoors with fluorescent light just being, over their heads for 8 hours a day. And it wasn't people, because mainstream media immediately started telling you that it's because of the sun exposure, which is absolutely nonsensical, because people in Mediterranean countries in Africa, they should all have higher rates of cancer. It's actually the opposite. They have lower rates of cancer. And sun is extremely important for your health. It's because of vitamin D. People will tell you need to take vitamin D in pills. It's very dangerous to take vitamin D in pills. It's very bad for you. So make sure you don't do that. It's a chemical that has unknown effects on your body. I once got quite sick after taking vitamin D in high doses. I wouldn't recommend doing this, but it's up to you. But you need sun exposure, and obviously chemical companies want you to think that it's take 15 minutes of sun exposure on your face and then you'll be good. No, you need whole body sun exposure about 3-4 hours a day minimum. that's when you get enough vitamin D in your body. So basically, melatonin is being converted to vitamin D. It's a complex process, but you cannot put it in a pill. Most vitamins are actually processes. They're not compounds. They can be isolated. You need to keep this in mind. You're being lied about everything. If you ever wanted to find out how vitamins and pills are being produced, oh, you would be surprised, because they're mainly petroleum derivative products. They mainly created from sugar and tar. It's crazy, trust me. If you read this, I have a chapter on this in my book. It's insane. So yes, you need a lot of sun exposure because you need vitamin D. And make sure you don't burn, like you don't get, your skin doesn't get red and that kind of stuff. But take it slowly, and then make sure you get enough. So I'm not saying 3-4 hours every day, because it's not healthy. You need to build like melatonin immunity to this, but I do it all the time. Every time I have a garden, and I spend, like, I write my videos in my garden. I go out, I did today, just writing and making sure I get enough sun, just sunbathing all day long, and it really helps. Also, I want you to think about the confirmation of this. When you look at the amount of people that die from flu every year, the number goes up by 30% in winter. What happens in winter? You have no sun exposure. I have a theory, especially in Europe or England, if winter was 2 months longer, we would be all dead probably, because by the time you get to March, you're so sun deprived and so exhausted from not having vitamin D that you start getting sick all the time. They call it flu season. It's not a flu season. It's basically your body not having any immunity to bacteria and viruses because of not having vitamin D. I would suggest, if you can afford it, go halfway through winter, go somewhere sunny. Like if you're in Europe, go to Canary Islands, go to Africa or Tunisia, whatever, wherever you can go, wherever you can afford to go. Make sure you get enough sun. You break this cycle, this winter cycle in half. That should help. I've been doing this for years, and yeah, also depression is obviously strongly related with lack of vitamin D. So it's all complicated. What else can we talk about here? Okay, so we talked about sun. Some people are talking about avocado causing headaches. No, that's nonsense. Well, the funny thing is that as soon as I started my diet 10 years ago, the monkey diet, it's actually a chimpanzee diet, I started getting people talking to me how bad it is for my health. As soon as I told people that I eat raw broccoli, and it was broccoli and cauliflower for some reason, they all told me, how can you eat raw vegetables? They're very, very unhealthy. Now, this is the type of logic, and I included this in my book. These people tell me that vegetables are unhealthy because they're being sprayed with pesticides, and you shouldn't eat them raw. And then this is so ridiculous, because the amount of nutrients you get from raw food is so great that even if it was true that you get all the pesticides, it absolutely it tips the scale of the nutritional value you get from it. If you eat a raw carrot, you can peel it, and then most of the pesticides stay on the skin of the carrot. You can get rid of it, and everything's okay. Of course, you can have vegetables from worse areas. Like, I wouldn't recommend getting anything from China. China has absolutely no food standards. Whatever you get in powder form from eBay from China, you need to be careful. There's a lot of stuff in it that you don't want, and it can make you sick. But eat organic. Get organic stuff, and make sure it's raw and you can eat it. So, yeah, don't believe. People are clueless when it comes to nutrition. You know what? The main thing is that there's so much misinformation that people are so confused. And it's all by design. It's obviously on purpose. They benefit from you not having enough information and you being confused, because then they can sell you whatever they have to sell. Remember that fear, confusion creates a great customer. And if you let them confuse you and brainwash you, then you'll become a customer. And it's really, really sad. So, yeah, just make sure you use your logic and look at your body. Like, listen to your body, to what it tells you. Like, if suddenly you open a fridge and you feel like eating a bunch of bananas, then there is something in bananas that your body needs. I'll tell you about something I did. I had a diet of fruit. It's called fruitanism. I did it for 4 months. I don't ever do it. It's a very damaging diet. it depletes your body of all the micronutrients, all the minerals, and it uses up all your reserves. But you're high 24 hours a day. Like, fruit is mainly fructose, which is not unhealthy, but you don't have anything else in your bloodstream, just sugar, just fruit sugar all day long. So you sleep 5 hours a day, you're always hyperactive, you are on fruit cocaine all day long, and it's amazing. It's the best diet I've ever done in my life. But I crashed. After 4 months, I woke up shivering cold, and I went down to my freezer and I ate a frozen salmon, like a piece of frozen salmon out of my freezer, because I was so hungry. I needed meat after that. And what happens, because I lost a lot of weight, for me, it is not good. If this guy loses weight, then he disappears. Like, I'm really skinny. But the thing is that over the course of the next few weeks, for some reason, when I saw peanut butter, I was just starting salivating. I was like, I gotta eat peanut butter. So I bought a bucket, a huge bucket of peanut butter. I think it was like one of those giant ones, industrial size, like a tub of, I don't know, it was like 5 gallons. Must be like 5 gallons of peanut butter. Over 1 month, I ate, I think, 4 or 5 of them. I was eating peanut butter all day long, just spoonful, like all day long peanut butter. And one day I woke up, I was like, that's it. I don't want peanut butter anymore. And to this day, I don't know what it is that my body needed. But it knew exactly what it wants. And this is something you need to take into account, that your body will tell you what it wants. Once you expose your body to the whole range of foods, nutritious foods, it will figure out which things are good for it. Your body actually communicates with you. This is something people don't know. I'm not talking about addictions like sugar, alcohol, because it will make you think that you crave those things, and then you'll think, oh, maybe they're healthy for me. No, these are like compounds that were created by humans, and they're addictive, and they're not natural. It's the same with cheese. Like, cheese is very addictive. But raw foods like vegetables, and if you have the foods on my list and you have them in your fridge all the time, and you open the fridge and you think, what am I going to eat today? Look at the list and think what it is that you would really enjoy eating today. And that's probably the food that you need to deliver to your stomach, so that you can get a certain type of, whatever, micronutrients, vitamins that your body needs in a given moment. You need to rotate these foods. Like, you cannot eat the same stuff over and over again, because your body doesn't need much, actually. That's the thing. Like, once you eat a healthy diet, it will replenish all the reserves, and then it will just try to maintain its functioning. So it's very smart organism that will talk to you. So keep that in mind. What about olive oil? Now, there's a thing about oils. Olive oil is not too healthy. Well, it's still healthier than palm oil or any type of trans oils. But every time you eat some oil, imagine the amount of a given grain or vegetable, whatever the oil is made of, how much you would need to squeeze out of. How much you would need to squeeze a spoonful of oil. Like, if you eat olive oil, how many olives would you need to squeeze to get that amount of oil? And then think about this. Once you eat this tablespoon of olive oil, you need to squeeze, I don't know, 20 olives probably? Can you eat 20 olives in one session? And then some people add a lot of olive oil, like 2-3 spoons. Then you eat 60 olives. Would you eat 60 olives in one session, and then you do it every day? Think what it does to your body if you were to eat that many olives. When would you get sick? But because it's isolated thing, your body will just absorb it. And you see, the thing is that most of it will be, your body will get rid of it. It will not use it. It will just it will be a burden to your system because it needs to do something with it. It will just get rid of it. It doesn't need it. But because it's not an olive, it's just oil that was been artificially squeezed, then it's gone. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that it's not healthy. It is healthy. It's not bad. It's much better for you to eat the whole olive. It's that simple as that. And then once you eat olive, you'll know when you're full, when you've had enough. But when you do this, especially if you mix it with salad, your body will not know what it is that it doesn't want anymore. That's the danger of it. Like, this is something that I do, and it's a problem for me. Like, I make smoothies all the time. I put vegetables in a blender or different types of food, and I noticed that very often I can drink it without any problems, and I'll get some crazy symptoms like a skin rash, or I go to the toilet and there's some weird stuff happening in the toilet, and I didn't know why. And then I started doing experiments, just basically eating these foods separately without blending them. And I realized that there's a certain type of a fruit that my body has a very negative reaction to. Like I've been eating a smoothie made of fruits from, they call forest fruits. So, strawberries, raspberries, or berries, and blueberries. And I realized that something's not right when I drink it. You can mix it with kefir or with yogurt. Like this combination of raw milk with fruits, forest fruits, is magical. I don't know why, but people have been doing this for decades, if not centuries, and it's a very healthy combination. By the way, if you don't know this, forest fruits combined with milk product, especially sour milk products like kefir, sour cream, that kind of stuff. And I didn't know what was wrong. And then I isolated it. Turns out I was adding cranberries to it, and my body couldn't take cranberries anymore. But I didn't know this because I was blending everything. It's the same with fruit juices and with those oils. Is that if you drink carrot juice, imagine how many carrots you would need to eat to get that amount of juice. The same with orange juice. Would you eat 4 oranges for breakfast? You probably wouldn't, right? But you drink it, no problems, because it's in water form. It's just, you down the hatch and it's gone. You don't think about this, but your body has to struggle with it. It's there's no fiber in it anymore, so it's not good. It's not. Isolated foods are not healthy. That's what I'm trying to say. So olive oil is not bad, but if you drink too much, it might be problematic. What else do we have here? Thoughts on fasting. Yeah, well, fasting is very, very important. Now, fasting is not a new thing. In Christian religion, you have those posts where, are they called posts? I don't know. This is a day when you don't eat meat, I think, and then you have, especially around Eastern time. Sorry, I wasn't raised Catholic, so I don't know how it works. I only know it from my friends and family. There's some the number of days when you're not supposed to eat anything, and then Muslim religion obviously has what is it called again? Oh, I forgot. This is crazy. I worked for this company, and they had this every year. Oh, sorry, I forgot. But they obviously, Muslim religion has it. They have an extreme version of it. Like they don't eat all day long; they eat at night, which is Ramadan. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Chris. But it's crazy because you eat at night, which is insane. By the way, guys, you need to make sure you go to bed. You go to sleep before you need to go to sleep with a half empty stomach. So not with a fully empty stomach, because you'll be hungry. It will be difficult for you to fall asleep. But eat later than 5 p.m. if you go to sleep around midnight. So you need to leave about 6-7 hours of time for your stomach to digest things. Now, what you need to know is that your stomach has different digestion times depending on the type of food that you eat. If you eat a typical Western diet, which is everything just mixed together, if you eat fries with a burger, so you get potatoes, you get wheat, you get meat, and then you have cheese probably in it, pickles, and then you drink soda, that's a food matter that is non-digestible, and it stays in your body. And your stomach has a clock. Every 7 hours, it empties it. No matter what you put in it, it will empty it after 7 hours. But this thing, because it's not digested, there's no enzymes in it that can digest it, it goes to your intestines, and then it putrefies. And it just rots, creates gas and alcohol, and it ferments, and it causes all types of problems. This is where all the diseases come from. It's undigested food matter. In fact, people don't know this, but most food allergies come from this. This is how they create it. Just undigested food particles entering your bloodstream. It's just suicide. It's basically, there's a saying that we dig our own graves with our mouth all throughout our lives, and it's true. So you need to make sure that you did the right thing. In my book, I mentioned a Chinese guy. This is actually confirmed. There's a Chinese guy who lived a few centuries ago, and he apparently lived for 234 years, if I remember. And there are actually records of this being true. Obviously, people try to debunk this, but they found records in Chinese, some sort of Chinese governmental offices. They found his birth certificate and they have his death certificate. And the guy had something like 86 children and hundreds of grandchildren. It all checks out. But the guy said that the only thing he did was living in the mountains, eating berries, and drinking spring water. And he survived apparently more than 200 years. And I'm not sure if this story is true, but from what I researched, what I found, it seems that it is true. So now different types of meats have different times of digestion. I think chicken has the lowest, pork has the worst. Pork meat is the worst to digest, takes 7 hours, and it's technically undigested. Fruits and vegetables are mostly they're not being digested. They just go straight through your body. You put them in your stomach, and within 20-30 minutes, the stomach's being emptied, and it goes straight to your intestines because it doesn't need to be digested. Obviously, the more complex, I think the next on the list are starches. Starches are being not that taxing on your system. But then you have oils and fats. Of course, vegetable fats go quicker than animal fats. And then you have milk. Milk is very difficult to digest. And I don't know if you know this, but only 20% of humans on the planet can eat milk. The rest, sorry, I'm mixing things up. I think, depending on the race, I think black people, only 20% of black people can eat milk products. For humans, I don't remember if I have the number, but there's a huge number of people, there's a huge percentage of human population cannot digest milk. And they get all kinds of symptoms, but they cannot connect the dots. Like for me, I had runny nose for most of my life. Like everywhere I went, I had a pack of tissues. And I actually had a very serious sinuses infection when I was 25. It's related to my video about working out and protein. I'll make a separate video about this one day because protein is also a myth, but we'll talk about this. The same way as calorie is a myth, protein is a myth as well. You don't need to eat crazy amount of protein because protein is in everything. So, but I got an infection, sinus infection that caused iritis. That's iris disease. It's an inflammation of iris, and I almost lost my eye. But I didn't know why. And then one day I realized that I was eating loads of cheeses when I was working out, like different types of cheeses. I love cheese, and then I realized that it's causing all types of mucus production in my body. And people don't know this, but most of us have something called a casein intolerance. There's a sugar in milk called casein, and it causes all types of health problems, like people who have acne and people who have serious, like I think it's called IBS, irritable bowel syndrome or irritable bowel syndrome. There are words that I cannot pronounce. I'm sorry, I'm foreign. But apparently milk is related to it. And people don't know this. People keep eating wheat and milk products and they never diagnose themselves. And they're allergic to it. They have no idea. They get all types of issues and they don't understand what's causing that, but they never do the experiments. Like you stop eating certain types of foods and then see if it helps you get better. So it's very important to test yourself and do your own experiments. But I can tell you now that milk is very unhealthy. It's absolutely crazy. I love milk. Listen, I don't want to sound like some kind of a health guru or nutritional freak, but there are things that I know that are important, but I still do them. Like I cannot stop eating gummy bears. And I know that there's something about gummy bears that my body, like, it's not that it wants sweets or candy, depending if you're British or American, but it wants gummy bears. So I think it's gelatin. It's something in it that's causing me to want, and it's certain types of gummy bears, because there are gummy bears that don't have the animal gelatin in it. And I don't like these. I like the ones that are very hard and they are very dense when it comes to gelatin. I also like broth. So it would probably be related to collagen. And is it collagen? So this skin thing that goes into your bones and everything. It's collagen, right? I do apologize. You know that I'm foreign. I wrote the book just reading, basically, not listening. It was back in 2007 and 8 when YouTube wasn't that popular. So there's a lot of words that I don't know how to pronounce, but you'll probably know what I'm talking about. So yeah, okay, I think I went off the tangent a little bit. What else do we have here? Let's see. So we talked about fasting. Oh, sorry, this is how far we went with fasting. Fasting is very important because once you stop eating, your body can go, oh, finally, now I can start doing the house cleaning and repairing stuff, getting rid of all the toxins. You have no idea how much of a burden your digestion is on your body. About 50% of your daily energy goes towards your digestion. And you'll see once you start eating healthy, like raw foods, you'll see how much more energy you have throughout the day. You'll see how clear your thinking becomes. All the fog, the foggy mind, all of it goes away. And then you sleep less because your body needs less time to regenerate. It's crazy. But when you fast, you allow your body to produce something. I don't remember what they're called. They're not white blood cells. There's something that your body starts producing, a compound that's very that's reinforcing your immune system. Now, I'm getting a lot of this information from people like Rhonda Patrick. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Rhonda. She's amazing. She's one of those very smart, and the fact that she's a woman, this is crazy. I mean, I'm saying it's because there's not that many scientists, female scientists, who you can listen to and go, Jesus, she's a genius. And I listen to her almost, I mean, read her tweets, and then I listen to her podcast, that kind of stuff, a lot. When I have a moment, then you should find her. She got famous through Joe Rogan, I think. He invites her a lot, and he's in love with that woman. She's also cute. She's very nice, and her knowledge is absolutely amazing. There are some things I don't agree with, but it's probably me being wrong because she knows her stuff. Like when she talks about something, you're like, okay, I cannot listen to her. There's no way this is possible for me to understand what she's saying. She's using so many references to. She's a scientist, but she's a smart scientist. There's a bunch of scientists who are. Oh, the research I did for my book, you wouldn't believe how many of them are just quacks, just pretty much people who are bought to sell a certain product through FDA and through certification of different types of food compounds. It's crazy. But Rhonda Patrick is great. So I get a lot of information from her. And this thing about fasting, that was basically her telling people that if you fast for 24 hours, then your body produces something. And I looked into it, and it's true. Like this type of thing rebuilds your immune system. Now, it's important to understand that fasting for more than 24 hours becomes a problem. And depending on your body weight and depending on what it is that you do with your body, you can start, your muscle tissue can start breaking down, and those elements, the breakdown elements from your muscle tissue, are very toxic to your body. So you need to be careful. Especially, I know there are many people who have the same body type as me, like skinny girls and guys who are not too big, and they start fasting for 4 days. This is very toxic. This is very dangerous also, because your body can survive on water only for something like 20, 30 days. But it's very dangerous to you. So I would suggest you do a fast. If you want to be extreme, do it every week for 24 hours. And the way you do it is you eat your last meal about 4 p.m., not too heavy, not too much meat or not too many fats. And then you go to bed, get to a point where you have nothing in your stomach. And then you go to sleep, wake up, and then you only drink water, and you eat first meal the same time as you stop eating the previous day. But make sure you ease up into this. So you slowly start eating light foods, raw foods. The first food you will eat after doing a fast will probably just run through your intestines, taking all the toxins, and it will be a diarrhea. So whatever you eat, you make sure that it can be wasted, because it will run through your intestines and will fall out immediately because there will be so many toxins in it. So intermediate fasting, something like 8-16 hours, it's not beneficial. Rhonda Patrick also confirmed that. I noticed doesn't do much. But once you do your first fasting, or any fasting, get ready to just make sure you're at home, do it over the weekend, because you get very tired, you get symptoms like you're getting a flu. So make sure that you're not driving, because your thinking goes away. Like, you cannot do anything. You'll be in your bed just waiting for the symptoms to go away. But you will see that the next day your thinking will be better. Your nutrition time will cut in half. Suddenly things will be digested quicker. Your stomach will be emptier sooner. So it has a lot of benefits. It's really, really good. So fasting is important, and do it regularly. If you don't want to go hardcore every week, do it maybe 2 or 3 times a month. But do it. Just make sure that it's related to calorie restriction. They did, again, Rhonda Patrick, this research on mice, and they checked the lifespans of mice who are fed regular diet when they're allowed to eat whatever they wanted, and they compared it with mice who were restricted when it comes to their diets, their food. And I think the results were something like 20 or 30% longer lifespans for those who lived on calorie restricted diet. The same applies to your body. Your body, every time it digests something, it's using up reserves, and it's like a manufacturing plant, like a processing plant. You put food into it, it needs to be processed. It needs to take energy from your body. If you eat a meal and you go to sleep, that's a sign that you're eating a very unhealthy diet. Obviously, if you put sugar or alcohol on it, it's a killer. It's a digestion killer, and it just destroys your body. One thing I need to mention: sugar in liquid form, when it's added to your stomach, absolutely stops your digestion process. So if you eat a meal and you just flush it down with a can of Coke, then it stops whatever you have in your stomach. It won't be digested, and it will be a very toxic matter that goes to your intestines, and then it, again, creates all those types of problems. So don't do it. What about tomatoes, bananas, avocados, broccoli, and stuff like that bought from the store? Yeah, it's fine. Listen, even if you get it from the worst Chinese field, I'm sorry, China, that you get so much bad press from me, but it's one of the the dirtiest types of foods you can get at the moment. They have the highest levels of pollution. It will be still healthier than what you eat in regular, like, burger outlets. You have no idea what you're eating. Like, this morning, I was looking at a bun, a hamburger bun, and I was looking at the list of ingredients, and I realized that I cannot pronounce 80% of ingredients in there. It's mainly those artificial vitamins, but I was like, this is a bun, this is bread. You're supposed to add some water to wheat, grind it, then add some fat and some yeast, and then you're done. You have bread. No, not according to these food corporations. The amount of ingredients in that simple pack of buns, I was like, this is insane. This should be illegal. So it's still healthier to eat whatever is raw from any food. Even if you grow it next to a road, it will be still healthier than what you get packed on a supermarket shelf, because they don't care about you remember, your health is their least priority. It's at the bottom of their list. It starts with profit, it goes through shelf life, goes through shipping and storing. At the bottom, it shouldn't make you sick, because then they get sued. That's the only reason. It's all about profit. It has nothing to do with your health. Your health doesn't matter to them. And this is what happens when you buy food from them. So remember to take care of yourself and eat broccolis, bananas, and avocados from food. Doesn't matter. So should I try to buy all my stuff from people who grow it themselves? No, of course not. Because listen, guys, one more thing. Don't get too crazy, because we all need to have lives. Like, once you go on this chimpanzee diet, you realize that there's no way you can have any social life, because you cannot go to a restaurant, you cannot go out, you cannot go even to the movie theater, because you won't be able to eat sweets. It's just sweets, candy, because everything is unhealthy. Listen, don't get too crazy. If you eat a healthy diet, occasionally you allow yourself, and when I say occasionally, I mean maybe once a week, something that will not ruin your health, then it will be fine. Of course, if you eat a bag of candy in the middle of the night on an empty stomach, you'll get insulin spike, and then you're causing all types of health problems. But relax. This life is to be enjoyed. It's not only to be healthy, but also to be enjoyed. And those are available to us. What I'm saying is not make it your staple diet. Don't make it, don't make gummy bears one of your meals. That's a side note for me, because I do that sometimes. I eat a big bag of Haribo bears and then I'm sick. So don't do that. It's crazy. Don't do what Peter does. Could detox be a part of my book? I think it is. Yeah, I think fasting is one chapter because I got a lot of information on it. That was long before I even knew who Rhonda Patrick is. The reason I like Rhonda Patrick is because she confirms everything that I researched, everything I experimented with. So I know that it's legit what she's talking about. So yeah. Let's see. Chlorella, that's the other one. Thank you. Spirulina and chlorella. One of them needs to have its cells broken, and I don't remember which one. One of them is more natural than the other one, so I'm sorry. Okay, so buy organic. Do you know about CDS? Jim Humble and Andreas Kalkar. Was it Andreas Kalkar? No, I don't know what CDS is, sorry. Heavy metals, I answered that. Am I eating Platimus? I don't know what that is. Genre of music. Keto diet, yeah. Okay, so there's a Canadian girl said, I did keto vegan for 6 months. Sorry, you did keto and was vegan? Keto diet is not vegan, is it? That's a bit confusing. And then you did blood work and you found out that you have a genetic issue causing high cholesterol, and keto was very bad for me. So it wasn't vegan in this case. I'm not sure what you meant. But on keto, I did keto diet myself. That was after watching Peter Jordan on, Jesus, what did I say? Peter Jordan. Jordan Peterson. And yeah, I tried it myself. It was super unhealthy. This, for me, it was horrible. I lasted 3 weeks and I started having serious thinking, like my brain was so foggy and my thinking was it was just non-functioning. Like I was waking up tired. And I know you're supposed to go through this period of detoxing, like you detox yourself from all the types of foods, and then you switch to ketonic, whatever. The whole science behind it is supposed to switch to a different type of digestion or something like that. I went through this. The first few days, it went better. It got better. But then a few weeks later, things started getting really bad. I was waking up tired. I was sleeping for 10 hours a day. And I didn't like it. That was really, really bad. I was tired all day long. I was like, I cannot do this anymore. So I don't think you can do this. And also, people don't do keto the right way. They experiment, and it's not always the right type of a diet for them. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this. I'm not a big fan of extreme diets. And yeah, that's a bit problematic. Now, with cholesterol, this is crazy. When you go to a doctor, they tell you have high cholesterol. Don't ever believe them. It's lies. Everything about cholesterol is lies. It's been recently confirmed, like mainstream science already knows that cholesterol is a fairy tale created about 40 years ago by who came up with this? I think it was the sugar industry. They basically wanted to make sure that they demonize a healthy diet made of, natural meat product like eggs and meats, and they wanted to scare you away from them so that you move to carbohydrate diet and fat-free diet. By the way, the moment we switched to a fat-free diet, that was the moment where we started having serious diabetes problems. This is when our health went downhill, when we switched to a fat-free diet. That was the moment when the government released the pyramid. That was back about 50 years ago, half a century ago, and we started having serious food problems when we started listening to our government. Government is nothing but a mouthpiece for corporations, and they don't care about you. Remember that. But cholesterol is a natural byproduct of healing your vein and artery artery injury. So basically, when you get injured inside of the artery, then cholesterol is being produced to heal your vein inside. Now, the way you injure your arteries and your veins is you eat foods that goes into your bloodstream and is irate. It's causing damage to your veins from the inside. Now, I don't know the exact mechanism of it. I went to it. I described it in my book. I don't remember it now. But I know from the 100 nurse study in China, it's wheat, mainly wheat. Apparently, when they did this, wheat turned out to be the biggest problem with cardiovascular diseases. Now, the reason why cholesterol is being demonized is because it can clog up your arteries, because the damage is so serious, there's so much damage that your body does nothing else but just producing cholesterol all day long. And then it starts building up, it starts hardening inside your veins, and it starts breaking down, and then pieces of it start going into your bloodstream, go to your brain, and then you get strokes. It's basically damaging your body from the inside. Now, I have a friend who's a good cardiologist. He's a surgeon, I think, if I remember correctly. And I talked to him. He wasn't too sure about this, but he said that from his experience, the plaque inside the veins and arteries is reversible. You can get rid of it. And this is also confirmed with people who eat diet filled with something called L-citrulline. And it's a new thing. It's something in watermelons and I think pomegranates. You can buy pills, L-citrulline, but it should be taken naturally. This compound actually reverses cardiovascular diseases by removing this plaque from inside of your veins. Now you can go and research it. Hold on, I'll type it. It's L-citrulline. And there's one more compound. I don't remember what it's called, but if you research it, you'll see that it actually dissolves the plaque inside your veins, and then you can go back to being, pre-diabetic and pre-stroke and all those conditions where you're close to having a heart attack. You can reverse all of that, and having it's called the vein light, something that tells you how much space you have inside your veins. You can reverse all of it, unless something is really bad, like hardened and stiff. Then I'm not sure about this, but I know that I read a lot about L-citrulline and it's reversible. So you need to remember this. Remember that those rich CEOs and bankers, those big families, that names I will not use, they live up to 100. Some of them are 100 years old. You can only think, what do they do? Like royals, like all types of kings and queens, they all live up to, look at Queen Elizabeth. Like she's almost, I think she's as old as my other grandma. She's 90 something, 95, something like that. Look at her. She's still functioning. She's still okay. There's no dementia. How do they do this? They know those tricks. They know those little compounds. They know what causes it. They try to stay away from it. And we're slowly gaining that knowledge. And I think it's something you need to understand. Healthy diet apparently reverses everything inside your veins that can cause a heart attack. People after heart attacks can get better. The same with diabetes. That's the bottom line. That's what I'm trying to talk about. Let's see what else I have here. There's a lot of questions. I don't think I'm on 1 hour and 10 minutes. I'll continue for as long as I can before my mouth starts getting sore. But I love it. I love talking to you about this. I really like talking about nutrition. It's one of the things that I feel comfortable with usually. Other than my bad memory, I love talking about this. What do we have here? Organic, free range. Yeah. What do we have here? Blood type diet has been disproven. Blood type doesn't impact ideal diet. No, it doesn't. I heard about this. There's a lot of, that's part of this misinformation. Well, there are some things that you can eat more and less, and there are some things that are more and less healthy for you. I know that our biology is the same. We all run on the same fuel, and there are the same rules. But the older you get, the more preferences you'll have. Your body have more food that it tolerates. Also, you'll have different rates of damage inside of your digestive system. Like collagen, again, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Collagen is not being absorbed by the time you get to 40. I think only 50% of it is being absorbed. That's why you start getting wrinkles, and that's why your hair starts getting gray, I think. So you need to be very careful with what you put inside of your body. And of course, the more you use it up, the more damage you create, and the quicker you age. It's not rocket science, but yeah, you need to be careful what it is that you put inside of your body, and just listen to your body. It will know what you're supposed to do. What else do we have here? So we talked about keto. We talked about about cholesterol. How to gain weight and what diet to follow, since there's not really much healthy food to gain weight. You're not supposed to gain weight. When you have a body like me, this ectomorph body, that's your healthy body. Now, the funny thing is that people don't know what type of a body they have because they're obese for most of their lives. Once you get on a chimpanzee diet, you start drastically losing weight. It will look like you're sick. You go to a doctor, they go, something's wrong with you. We need to check you for cancer. And you go, no, I'm just eating healthy at the moment. And your body will start losing a lot of weight. And then it will stop at some point. And once it stops, you will see what it is that you're made of. This is your body now. Now, I always think about WALL-E, the end of WALL-E, this Pixar cartoon, when they were all on those tiny sunbeds, hovering sunbeds inside the spaceship. And then they all started eating healthy at the end. And then this credits, and everyone's super skinny. And they playing and running around in the forest, and there's butterflies, and they're all super skinny. And it's because you have a skinny body is probably what we should look like. Of course, there are guys who naturally look like, they look like those Greek gods. But, we have 3 body types. So depending on which one you have, that's what you look like. But if you look at girls, when they start losing weight, they all look skinny and slim. This is what the body should look like. This is what a slim body is supposed to look like. Just a healthy, slim body. I love those. There are those pictures on Instagram of girls before and after, and I actually follow a lot of those accounts. I love these girls. Some of them are my friends now. Actually, we talk about nutrition, but it's crazy when you look like 2 completely different people. You have someone who just morbidly obese, someone who's really close to ending up in hospital or maybe dying, and then they do something drastic. They switch the diet, and then you see them a few months or even a few years later, and you're like, is this your daughter? Because this woman looks just 20 years younger, and she looks just beautiful, just super skinny, and well, not skinny, that's not the right word, but she's slim and she looks natural. She looks like a human being now. And it's the problem with human body is that it doesn't have a limit to storage of fat tissue. So those fat cells we talked about an hour ago, they can expand. There's no limit on expansion of fat cells. You can be as big as you want. And there are people who, need to be moved from their houses with a crane. It's not a joke. There are people who are being buried very often in piano boxes. This is crazy. Like, those stories, right? They make programs about them on Discovery. So yeah, you can watch. I'm not sure if you've ever seen a series called Naked and Afraid. And it's this idea 2 people are being put on an island or somewhere in the middle of an Amazon forest, and they're naked and they're supposed to survive for 3 weeks. It's very popular. I've been watching this for years when it wasn't really popular, and now I know they have all those off-spins and different series in different countries. But it shows you what happens when people start eating very healthy diets, or just stop eating in general, just drink water for 3 weeks. And you'll see them immediately just becoming like totally different people. And many of them go back on regular diets, but they don't regain the same unhealthy look. They become much healthier. So I think there's this natural look that we all have that we should all go to. But yeah, that's subjective. You need to find out for yourself what you're supposed to do. Ritual podcast about diabetes. Never heard of it. So, supplements. We're talking about supplements. Be very careful with supplements because, as I said, it's mainly chemicals that are not really healthy for you. You see, everything you're supposed to get, you can get from food, unless you have some diseases or, and many of them are just, they're fake. Like vitamin C is being sold in pills or in powder form. Vitamin C is not really a vitamin; it's ascorbic acid. It's a part of vitamin C. It's just basically one of the chemicals, but it's healthy, and it's super healthy when you inject it intravenously. So if you inject it into your veins, it's part of the protocol to cure cancer, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's apparently, I'm not sure if you heard it, the virus can be cured with intravenous vitamin C injections plus zinc plus one of those, hydrochloroquine, that kind of stuff. So yeah, what else here? Can you talk about 5G? No, we're talking about food. But for now, let's relax because I've been through a few of those scares. I went through a smart meter scare, and I was supposed to kill all of humanity, and nothing happened. So I've been through a few of these. Let's see what happens. I mean, people are blaming the virus on 5G, but Iran has a lot of the virus and there's no 5G in there. So I don't know. It might be true. I hope it's not. We'll have to find out. Probably we'll be the guinea pigs for them. But I don't trust 5G, by the way. I just don't think that it will be as bad as people say. I hope. So let's see. What else do we have? You would like to see my face? Why? What's the point of seeing my face? There's really nothing interesting about my face. There's something about resveratrol. I just saw it, and this is quite important. So what do you think about supplementing with phytonutrients like berberine, salicin, and resveratrol? Well, again, there's a lot of hype about things like resveratrol, and some of it is justified because resveratrol is very important. For those of you who don't know, resveratrol is a recently discovered chemical compound that has rejuvenating properties, and it's usually in dark fruit like black grapes or dark red grapes or I think blueberries. The highest, see, if you look at my list, there will be, what is on there that it's the high level of resveratrol. I don't remember, but I think it's bilberries. Yeah. So wild blueberries, they have the highest level of resveratrol. They're very, very healthy for you. But at the same time, see, this is what they do. They, you know what they claim? They claim that if you do a wine diet, I think it's called a wine diet. You're supposed to drink wine with every meal, red wine, then you get resveratrol, crazy amounts, then you're going to be healthy. This is insanity. Like, alcohol is super bad for you. It also stops digestion. And you're supposed to drink alcohol to get resveratrol. Why don't you just eat grapes? Like, what's the point of it? So yeah, you should get all of these, but you shouldn't get them in an isolated form. You should eat them with fruit and everything else. So yeah, that's how it works. You said something about countries like Sweden where winter is extremely long and dark. Yeah, that's something very interesting I found out. These countries, Nordic countries, have very high levels of cancer. Like, they have the highest, I think the highest amount of cancer in the world is in those northern countries. So countries with very little sun. So again, it goes back to vitamin D. But also, they have the highest the highest consumption of milk products, of cheese. So it confirms two of the things that I talked in the past previously. So milk products are very bad for you, may actually be related to cancer. And lack of vitamin D is probably both of them combined. So no, it's complex, but you know what I think, because so many of people get cancer these days, I think there might be one thing that we're doing that causes cancer. It doesn't have to be a combined effect of all of this, but there might be one thing that's causing all of this, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was milk. But I don't want to blame milk for everything. I might be wrong. And there are also things that milk does, and it's not that bad. Like kefir is quite good. You can also drink kefir in water without milk, but this is very healthy. It helps apparently your gut flora or something like that. I'm not sure, but yeah. Let's see what else I can answer here. More about chimp diet. Well, everything about the chimp diet I've already talked about in previous videos and at the beginning of this podcast, so you can go back to it. Basically, I went to a zoo and I saw what they eat, and I saw how big and strong they are, and I realized that 99%, I read this, 99% of DNA is chimpanzees. They are the closest DNA relatives to us, and they have the most of our DNAs, and we should follow their diet to be healthy. And it's basically 90 to 95% plant-based diet. The rest is they eat animal foods in forms of some meat, little bugs, just some animal protein, that kind of stuff. But yeah, you shouldn't eat that much meat. And if you eat meat, make sure that you eat organ meats. You don't eat muscle meats, because this is crazy. Like we eat muscle. Like when a lion catches prey, when it catches an animal like an antelope or whatever, it doesn't eat the muscles. It eats organs, liver, drinks blood, that kind of stuff. That's why for us it's also very important to eat pâtés. If you eat meat, obviously you don't have to, but if you eat pâté, I wouldn't recommend eating hearts, but people eat it. The foods that actually liver and kidneys, because that, if you have to eat meat, eat that rather than muscle meat, because muscle meat doesn't really contain much of whatever you need. Like iron is not really present that much in red meat, as it's told to be the bee's knees of best iron source in human diet. Apparently is red meat, but they don't tell you that if you eat kidneys, I think, or liver, then you'll get 10 times the amount of iron you'll get in muscle meat, and that's something that obviously they don't talk about. Okay, what else? What about whole food plant-based diet? Well, that's what I'm talking about pretty much all the time. What about nuts and seeds? Yes, if you look at my list, then nuts and seeds are very important. What I can tell you about seeds and nuts is that you need to soak them. That's something people don't do. When you soak nuts for 48 hours, do it in the fridge so that they don't go off. But soak them for 48 hours and then look what's in the water, and you'll see because once you put it in your body, it's being soaked with water. All of this water will actually go into your intestines, and you'll notice very often you'll eat nuts, you can get like diarrhea or different types of nausea, that kind of stuff. And it's usually because you need to soak them for 20. You need to put them back in a state that they're in nature. So they're not in dried form like we are being sold them, but they're full of water. So soak them and then you can eat them. And also try not to mix them. By the way, we're the only animals in nature that mix foods. You're not supposed to mix them. Like if you eat, you should eat layered diet, which means that you eat your lightest type of food first, like fruits or vegetables. Then you eat carbohydrates, then you move to fats, and if you have to eat milk, and then you eat meat at the end, so that it goes layer by layer, and it doesn't cause indigestion. Sugar doesn't go anywhere in there, but if you need to, eat sugar at the beginning, because sugar is immediately entering your body. It starts in your mouth. You don't know this probably, but sugar goes through your bloodstream, through your mouth. It's so easily absorbed, and it goes into your intestines, and it's immediately absorbed through your bloodstream, and that's why it causes diabetes, because it's causing all those spikes in sugar and insulin. So it's very, very, very dangerous. It's not really good for you. Don't put sugar in your body. What else can we talk about? What is my favorite food? Fruit. To this day, eating fruit. And I don't know if it's a good thing because I wake up eating fruit and then I eat fruit for dinner before I eat something heavier. And then I stopped. I used to eat fruit before going to sleep, and it caused, I had a lot of bad dreams. Like nightmares are usually caused by indigestion. If you should know that. You should go to sleep with an empty stomach. Okay. You're asking how the government can control us with their power. I'm assuming you're talking about food. Well, if you let them, then they will, because for them you're a product. If they feed you their product, then you give them money for being unhealthy. Then you get sick and you go to big pharma for medicine and you make them earn it again. And it's crazy. It's crazy how much money they make off of our ignorance. So make sure you don't let them make money on you. Simple as that. You are a free human being. You make the choices. You can do whatever you want. You don't need to be their slave, and they will enslave you if you give them the chance. So make sure you use your own brain. There's climate change, and you should be concerned more about our health, our Earth, than our health. No. I've been through a few of these. I'm 40 years old. Trust me, it's a freaking scam as everything else. They're lying to you about everything. You should make sure that you're taking care of Earth or whatever your environment you live in. But those corporations that are talking about climate change are the same ones that are the biggest pollutants on the planet. And they are the main reason for it. Humans do not produce that much pollution. It's basically heavy industry in countries like China, India, that kind of stuff. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about climate. It's a hoax. It's a giant hoax, and it's not what you think it is. There is a problem, of course. We're doing a horrible thing to nature. We're cutting out Amazon forest and planting palm trees. That's something you should be worried about. This is something, it has nothing to do with climate change. It's humans. Humans are cutting out ecosystem that has existed here for millennia probably, and we're losing plants and animals that could be incredibly beneficial to our well-being. It's insane, and has nothing to do with our CO2 levels or some bullshit. It doesn't matter. What matters is we don't put junk in our ocean, we don't pollute our food, we don't destroy nature, we don't kill off all the species. That's important. Not some fake gas that we're breathing out because Greta has an amazing agenda to talk to us about. Come on, guys, he's smarter than that. Don't believe in that. What else? Have you heard of the concept of hormesis? Nope, I never heard that. I'm sorry. There's a lot of stuff. It's basically, there are some few foundations that are called different things, but the basics, they're always the same, and then people change names every few years. Like the keto diet used to be called Atkins diet. It's almost the same, but it's pretty much the concept's the same. So it goes every few years back and forth. It's not the first time. What else do we have? Thoughts on breatharianism. So is that the same as pranic eating, pranic breathing? I don't know what it's called, but basically, no, come on. Your body follows laws of physics and biology. I argued with someone recently. They were trying to convince me that they have health problems and they gain weight from drinking water. Guys, come on. The biggest problem with health is how much lying you're doing to yourself. It's not about what you eat, but what you convince yourself you eat. If you convince yourself, you know what? I'm going to tell you. My mom is the best example. My mom has had weight problems for the last 20 years. She got to a point where she ruined her spine with being so overweight that it couldn't handle her weight anymore, because she's petite, she's like small, but she was so big from eating that her disc collapsed in her spine. So she cannot bend, she cannot do any physical work anymore. Now she's incapacitated now. She can walk, but it was painful. Now, I spent years arguing with her. I said, Mom, if you lose weight, you'll get better. And her excuse has always been her thyroid. If you've seen the reincarnation video and her NDE experience, she's always blamed her thyroid for everything. Now, the funny thing is that she has the same body type as me. She is an ectomorph. And she believes fairy tales just to sustain her level of unhealthy eating. So basically, she says, I say, Mom, you need to cut down on sugar. She needs to stop eating sugar and those fats that you're ingesting all day long. She goes, I don't eat sugar. So I started observing what she's doing. And throughout the day, she will, just to prove her point, she will drink water, eat some fruit, and then night comes, she takes out a huge basket of chocolate and she starts eating like crazy. Like she's picking out on chocolate and all types of candy, and she does it every night. And I'm like, where's the logic in that? But she still believes she doesn't eat anything unhealthy because she doesn't do it during the day. For some reason, eating at night doesn't count. This is the type of little tricks that we play on ourselves just to justify whatever we want to do. We give in into our whims and our needs, and then we blame the whole world that this is not our fault. It is, guys. It's basically a decision. You open the fridge and you decide, what do you want to do? Do you want to eat a carrot or do you want to eat a piece of cake? And this is the moment where you decide whether you want to be healthy, whether you want to look good, and whether you want to be just a human being, or do you want to become a problem, or whether you want to start being unhealthy. This is what it amounts to. Just basically you making a choice with your hand when you open the fridge. There's no thyroid problems. There's no magic happening inside of your body. In order to create fat tissue, you need fuel. And fuel is usually everything that your body cannot digest. It needs to store it. And it's usually the excess amount of food. It's pretty much as that. You eat too much, you eat wrong types of food, you will gain weight. You want to lose weight, you eat things that do not cause your body to store whatever you eat. It's energy balance. It's simple as that. No matter how many excuses, what type of crazy theories you come up with, how many doctors you'll see, it will always be the same case. You lose weight when you stop eating and when you start eating healthy. Now, to finish the story with my mom had a crazy accident. Unfortunately, she fell down the stairs. She broke her knee and there are a few other issues. But the side effect of that was that she went on a hospital diet and she stopped eating her magic foods. You know, magic foods in terms of I don't eat fats and sugar, I only do it at night. What happened? She started losing weight like crazy until she met a doctor who told her, well, you need to gain weight to get healthy. And she started eating like that again. So again, it's the same thing. Don't lie to yourself and let somebody help you. Just get a personal trainer or start reading books or do whatever. Just make sure that you're logical, because you cannot gain weight from drinking water, no matter what you tell yourself. It's not in your genes. It doesn't run in your family, your body. And my mom's an ectomorph. Her pictures look like my pictures. Like when she was my age, she was super skinny. And I remember her as a child. She was skinny when she was young. And then she started eating, the communism ended and we started getting all these Western foods. And I remember what happened. She just started enjoying eating. And we started getting a lot of money. And suddenly we were all magically, she started gaining weight. And then all the stories started, being brought out into the light. And she still believes it to this day, that it's not her eating habits, it's her thyroid. So no, don't do that. You know what, guys, I'm not even halfway through those comments, and I'm sorry, but there will be a lot of questions I won't be able to answer. So 5G, we talked about 5G. What else do we have? I'll try to just go through them quickly. What about younger people? Would fasting ever be detrimental to the growth process? See, no, that's what I'm talking about. A body is a body, doesn't matter what age. Well, obviously you would not make an infant fast, but a child still needs a healthy digestive system. And finally, your body will make you fast. Sometimes when you get sick, for no reason, you'll see that you start getting diarrhea, you throw up, and you vomit a lot, and then you cannot eat for 48 hours. And once you do this, and you can only drink water, suddenly you're healthy again. And there are moments when your body has had enough, and it will do this for you if you don't do it yourself. So yeah, that's one of the things. Oh, it looks like I've only been through 30% of 30% of all the comments. I don't know what dry fasting is. What is here? Let's see. So there's a lot on fasting. What type of foods do you use to break fast? Yeah, as I said, whatever you eat after fasting will be wasted in your toilet. So maybe something light, like just fruits. Something doesn't need to be digested and then break into something heavier, but do it slowly and gradually. Don't, when you finish your fast in the evening, don't try to eat anything. Like, you will feel like you want to eat like crazy. Suddenly everything is super tasty. You want to eat everything. Control yourself, because it will be still a part of your fast regimen. Fasting daily, no, don't fast daily. This is very, very dangerous. And you should be careful how you break your fast. Yeah. What else do we have here? Water fasting, flash toxins out. I want to talk about toxins because it's this myth of your body is filled with toxins. It's not. It's crazy. Your body is very good. If you let it, it will get rid of toxins all day long. Like, you have toxins in your body all the time. Like, we die because of the damage we get from what are they called again? Free radicals. So, as I said before, you don't have an aging code in your DNA. You have free radicals that destroy your cells. They break down your cells. So make sure you don't cause too much breakdown from free radicals, and you should be fine. So, right. And also, when it comes to toxins, heavy metals are very important, but that's a different story. I talked about this at the beginning, so you know what it's about. Would a good fasting schedule change from someone who is over 35 versus someone younger? No, it's still the same. You just need to let your body heal. Just think about, when can your stomach get a break to heal a sore or something, some damage? When can it do that? There's always food in it when you think about this, all day long, 24 hours a day. So yeah, just give it a break, and then it starts shrinking, which is a very funny sensation. You'll see. My voice is easy to listen to, and you love it. Thank you. I was very self-conscious about my voice. I thought that it's my biggest disadvantage when it comes to starting YouTube channel, and it stopped me from recording videos actually in the past. And it's only you guys who told me they like my voice. So thank you very much. There are apps for fasting? That's interesting. Zero fasting app is a good way to track your fast. I don't know why you would need to track your fast, but sounds interesting. What about air we breathe? Which food helps to reduce impact of polluted air? Come on, guys, this is crazy. There's the amount of unhealthy chemicals you ingest through your food is insane. One bag of chips contains the amount of toxins you will not breathe in throughout your life, probably. So don't worry about breathing. Let's not get crazy. But make sure that you don't eat anything that humans have made, because this is the best way to get sick. Peter Jordan. Yeah, sorry, I thought it's Jordan Peterson. What do you think about carnivore diet and Jordan Peterson diet? Yeah, I talked about this. He ended up in hospital, didn't he? This is what I said it when I listened to him. I said, you're gonna end up in a hospital at some point, and he did. I know that there's more stuff happening. I know that his wife had cancer, so it's more related to his psyche. But his diet, maybe short term it helped, but you cannot eat meat all day long. This is super unhealthy. This is very, very tricky. So maybe there are people like this. I don't know, but I'm not one of them. have you watched the Game Changers documentary? You know what? There's so many of them. There's Food Incorporated, I think. There's one about corn. There's too many. I've watched a lot of them, and I stopped at some point. I was like, this is. They all talk about the same thing, by the way. Well, not the same, but pretty much. They talk about healthy food, and yeah. So I stopped. I don't have time anymore. But what else do we have? Talked about cheese, so we talked about this. Muscle gain. Muscle is pretty much injuring. So when you think about gaining muscle weight, is basically injuring your muscle. Like when you cut your skin, it grows back thicker. This plate, when you cut, it grows back thicker, right? The same happens inside your muscles. When you work out, you break the muscle tissue. And when it breaks down, it needs to heal. That's why when you work out, food and nutrition is very important. But there's also a very important thing, which is resting. And the best workout program I had is high intensity training twice. I'll probably make a podcast about training one day because we need to talk about this. You can basically get great results with high intensity training twice a week. And just make sure that you get a lot of rest, you sleep a lot, you eat a lot of healthy food that contains all the micronutrients, not protein. Your body will call for protein, you'll know when, but protein is very toxic when it breaks down, like animal protein. This is the reason why you shouldn't eat meat that much. So be very careful. Did I talk about veganism? I didn't follow everything. Okay, we need to talk about veganism. Obviously, vegans. I'm not a fan of being a vegan. I tried it and I failed. And from scientific point of view, being a vegan, I believe, is not optimal. You can be healthy. It's much healthier than eating meat all the time or eating typical Western diet. Don't get me wrong. But vegan meat is very, very tricky because there are things. Don't argue with me. You know it's true. I know you'll come up with all kinds of crazy theories. There are things in food you will not get from a vegan diet. If you want to get iron there are two types of iron. There's one that comes from green plants and there's one that comes from animal blood. You will not get the animal part from anywhere else. You will not substitute with some magic. I don't know what vegans usually talk about. There are a few things that there's no way you'll get from plants. That's why chimpanzees eat 5 to 10% of their food from animals. Because to stay healthy, you need the whole range of nutrients. And some of them only work in combination with animal foods. Unfortunately, there's no way there's nothing you can do about this. Like vitamin A the highest levels vitamin A comes from cod liver. Obviously, you can get keratin from carrot, but it will not be absorbed until you introduce fat. And bast fat apparently is animal fat. And vitamin A obviously works together with that's the whole thing. And the highest source is fish, and it's especially cod liver. And there's no way around it. There's nothing you can do about this. You can eat as many carrots as you want, but you will need. I'm not saying you will need, but if you want to stay healthy, then this is what you need to do. Obviously, there are exceptions. There's no rule because there are some people who thrive on vegan diet. And there are people who eat only meat and they look amazing. So it depends. But from my personal experience, observing other people, reading about this, everything points towards having this chimpanzee diet. But if you're a vegan, there's this documentary. This is why I tried vegan diet. Documentary about a family that lives. Where does it live? Somewhere in Africa. It's an old documentary from like 15 years ago. What is it called? I think it's called Raw. Just RAW. Raw. And there's this black guy. He has a pretty wife. She's white, and they have those children, and they live somewhere in a jungle or something like that. And they only eat coconuts, and all of them look amazing. And that's the reason why I started a vegan diet. So it's possible. It depends what climate. There's many factors that will have impact on it. But in our climate, if you want to, if you're sick, if you're sick, like let's say Jordan Peterson, you tell him to go on a vegan diet, he'll probably die because there's not enough. You need to eat very sophisticated diet to get everything, and you'll still not get everything. But it's my personal opinion. Maybe I might be wrong. But for everything that I read, it seems the vegan diet is very extreme. So I would say take into account that it might be, like for example, yolk. I think I read that yolk contains also high levels of vitamin A. And have I been talking about vitamin A or vitamin C? Sorry if I've been saying vitamin C. I meant vitamin A. But yeah, it's risky. And also people say they eat vegan diet, and you look at their diet and they eat crackers with peanut butter jelly. And it's not really a vegan diet because they just stop from eating animal products. But they don't eat nuts, nothing like that. Depends, obviously. But when someone calls themselves vegan, just look what they do and what they eat, because it's just like I know people whose diets are made of just noodles. They just eat student food like ramen noodles, and they consider it to be vegan diet, which is crazy because it's super, super unhealthy. But what are you gonna do? This is their idea of being a vegan. So yeah. Cow milk, is it good for humans? No, we talked about lactose, yeah. Casein protein is the same. Yeah, we talked about this. So I thought casein was a sugar. I didn't know it. I'm not sure if it's a protein. Okay. Is it healthy to drink water for a week to get a healthy weight? No, it's dangerous. We've talked about this. Am I doomed to be skinny? Yes, you should be happy about this, because if you maintain your health, you'll have a 30% longer lifespan than someone who has a lot of weight problems. There's nothing wrong with being skinny, of course. And if you're looking for a woman, for a wife, make sure that you're healthy, that you work out. The good thing about being skinny is that the road from being skinny to being ripped lacks one step. You don't have to lose weight to lose fat tissue, and most guys need to do that. Most guys can build muscle tissue, but it won't be visible underneath all those layers of fat. When you build muscle tissue, you look 10 times better because it will be automatically visible. So it's a good thing. Trust me. I remember thinking, I'm so lucky I'm skinny. When I was running, I was late getting to an office, and I slipped on ice. And I slipped on like a ledge, and I was falling down, and it was quite high. I was thinking, there's no way I'm going to fall down, and this is not going to end up in a hospital, like in a hospital visit. I'm going to break something. As I'm flying off this ledge, I'm thinking this is going to end bad. Like those fast thoughts, microseconds, and I'm thinking I'm going to break something, and I fall down. It hurts, but I get up, and I'm like, oh, nothing's broken. And then I started thinking, because my mom fell, as I said, she had an accident. She fell and she broke so many bones. But my mom's overweight. She's huge. And I was thinking, this is one of the benefits of being skinny. Like, touch wood, I've never had anything broken. Nothing broke in my body. Like I've been bruised a lot, but nothing's ever been broken. So I think it's one of the benefits is that you maintain a healthy calcium levels, because you're skinny. You don't waste too much energy on maintaining this whole this whole weight. So it's very important. Okay, what else can we talk about this? I've been experiencing with berberine, and this is a miracle. I need to look it up. I don't know what this is, to be honest. Are there any more questions, or are you just guys talking to each other? Yeah, you're talking to each other. You're calling yourself cute. Oh, because you can see each other's pictures. That's good. There's not enough resveratrol in grapes to be effective regarding anti-aging. It needs to be the compound. I don't agree with you. Unless we're creating something super artificial that has very positive effect, like a chemical on your body, then yeah, maybe you're right. But I'm not sure. I've read something else. So I read that red grapes have a lot of it, and I think bilberries have the highest amount. I don't remember it. Why is kefir on the list if milk is bad? I explained it because kefir is very healthy for your gut flora, and there's a few other things that one of those probiotic things. It's very good. But I know that I've been drinking kefir my whole life. But by the way, I'm from Eastern Europe, where it's natural. This is Russians and Eastern Europeans, like sorry, not only Eastern, but Germans, like this part of the world. They drink a lot of kefir. It's part of their diet. And I always thought that it's based on milk. That's why I always drank it. Now, by the way, my body craves it all the time. That's the reason why I drink it. But I found out recently that you can have kefir in water. It is a different solution, and apparently that's also possible. So I need to look into that. I know that if instead of it, you can drink kombucha. And from fermented foods, I think salty pickles are good, and also natto, the Japanese fermented bean, but I think it's vitamin K2. That's a bit different to kefir. So fermented foods are like sauerkraut. They're very important, but for different reasons. Is it okay to take vitamin D3 capsule? No, we've talked about this. I read that it's carcinogenic, actually, so you need to be very careful. You said you don't agree that only one thing causes cancer personally. How do you know? Nobody knows. We'll probably find out one day. We'll find out one day, and it will be surprised. It could be one thing, could be more. I don't know. Some for it. You say a lot of things I don't agree with. I think that vitamin D3 should be supplemented. Well, it doesn't matter. I'll use Ben Shapiro's quote. Facts don't care about your feelings. It doesn't matter what you think, and what matters is science and what they found out. And they've discovered that you cannot supplement the natural process of getting sunlight through pills, through vitamin D3. What's more, there are many studies pointing into carcinogenic effects of vitamin D3 in pill form. So you need to be very careful. You might be right, but you might be wrong. And looking at humans from nature's perspective, 50 years ago, we didn't have vitamin D3 in pill form. So how we're still alive? How is it possible we're still alive? Well, we were in the fields and we were getting a lot of sun. So I don't agree with this. I'm not a big fan of pills. I'm against them, actually. So carnivore diet is only good for extreme autoimmune conditions, not for the average person. Oh yeah, I agree with that. That's true. What about legumes? Well, you need to boil them. Think about this. Like beans. How can you eat beans? You need to soak them for 24 hours, and then you need to boil them for 3 hours. How is it natural? The way you should think about your food is that you go into a forest, well, not naked, but you go into a forest and you need to survive. What do? Are you going to collect beans and soak them for one day and then, boil them? Would chimpanzees do that? Always ask yourself, would a chimpanzee eat that? That's how I see it. So, is sugar from fruit bad for you? Not necessarily, no, because obviously if you isolate it and you drink juices, then it becomes a problem. But no, I eat a lot of sugar. Not sugar. I eat a lot of fruit, and I can tell when it's causing some serious issues. But normally, no, it wouldn't be a big issue because it's mitigated by presence of fiber and other compounds. It's only when you start juicing it when it's becoming a problem. Also, I think bananas, from all the fruit, banana is the only one that is being digested. So it depends what fruit, but most of them, no, that shouldn't be a problem. Of course, if you eat 5 oranges, you're going to get hyperactive because of all the fructose, but it's not the same. Oh, by the way, high fructose corn syrup, that's very unhealthy for you. And it's actually causing perhaps some liver. I think you can get non-alcoholic liver disease from it. So you need to be very careful with this. They've replaced all the sugar with high fructose corn syrup, which is even worse now. Nightmares are caused by indigestion. Yes, they are. You didn't know that? It's when you get nightmares, it's usually because your body is still trying to digest. Well, your stomach switches off, but there's something happening inside of your body that makes you. It causes bad quality of sleep. I thought it was common knowledge. I'm surprised that you didn't know that. So if you're getting nightmares, just stop eating before bed and eat your last meal about 6-7 hours before you go to sleep. Tea is okay. some people claim that it causes oxidative stress, but you doubt that it's bad. Well, I read that tea. Well, first of all, it's burnt. It's the same as coffee, so it's not natural to drink water from a burnt plant. That's how I see it. I also heard that tea is one of the worst plants when it comes to absorbing fluoride, and then you drink it. The fluoride obviously is not healthy for you, but don't know how much truth is in it. I'm talking about black tea. Green tea is apparently much better, but still, it's still hype. There's too much hype around this. I think there's not much healthy about tea, but it's just my opinion. I wrote about this, but I'm not sure. Green tea, there's a lot of stuff, but I cannot imagine you soak something and you get all the magic ingredients from it. Especially that most of the teas, well, if you look at the way the Japanese people prepare green tea, like the whole tea ceremony, right? It's very different. I cannot believe that this might, they use the tea paste, and it could make sense. The way we do it, we just put some leaves into hot water and then we soak it for 5 minutes and we drink it. I don't think that has the same effect, but again, I might be wrong. Compared to coffee, obviously, tea will be much healthier than coffee. What else do we have? We need stress to thrive. No, you don't. How? Well, it's actually interesting what will happen to a person who never has any stress. That would be interesting to see, but no. Nature will hopefully rebound. I'm not sure about that. There are some things that are unfortunately irreversible, the way we do it. But you know what? Nature will know what to do with us. Once it decides that it's time to go, it will make us go. Like, it will be a virus or whatever. It'll be like, goodbye, humans. And I think we'll just say, okay, time to go. So, yeah, George Carlin had a great bit, one of his stand-ups, like when he argues that our Earth needed plastic. It didn't want humans. He wanted to get rid of humans, so it created plastic. So, yeah, you can watch it. It's really, really funny. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Oh, it's one of those cliches that I absolutely cannot stand. It's ridiculous. Really, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I don't think so. Warrior diet. I think I've heard about this. We've talked about muscle gain. It seems like there's a lot of stuff that people want to know about, but listen to it again. Go back to the beginning, and you'll know what we talked about. Anything else? Okay. Someone talks about cutting refined sugars, and you got rid of an ear infection. Of course you would get rid of an infection. See, one of the things that sugar is causing, it's competing with, I don't remember which one's which, but it competes with white blood cells for vitamin C, or it competes with vitamin C to get to white blood cells. And I think, in effect, you'll get lower oxygen levels in your blood. There's a lot of stuff. But one of the things is that your immune system is absolutely disabled for 5 days after eating 30 grams of sugar, if I remember correctly. So if you have anything inside of your body, like any infections, any viruses, it will grow. It will get stronger if you eat a lot of sugar. One of the reasons. Of course, it also adds fuel to cancer cells. There's a lot of stuff that sugar does. It's very complicated, but the main thing is you're not supposed to eat it. The bottom line is avoid sugar at all costs, because it attacks you at all fronts. You're getting hit from all sides, so sugar is really, really bad. Fasting. We talked about fasting, so okay. Yeah, so don't quote me on that. Immune system is broken for 5 days from only 30 grams of sugar. Yes, you can Google it. I'm not sure if it's exactly 5 days, but I think it was 36 hours, or between 48, 36 hours, or even 5 days after 50 grams of sugar. But I have bad memory. I might have mixed it up. So it might have been 50 grams of sugar for 3 days, or 30 grams of sugar for 5 days. All I know is that it disables your immune system. Even if it disables it for 6 hours, which it does, then it's enough for the viruses to attack you. Well, you have viruses in your body all the time, and they're being kept at bay because your body has a strong immune system. Once you eat sugar, especially liquid sugar, because that's the easiest to absorb, your body this doesn't have any defense mechanism. It has no defense system, and it just starts getting attacked. So sugar is very, very bad for you. Okay, I think we need to finish because it's exactly 2 hours now. Hello, someone said. Well, hello. It's been 2 hours, but you can listen to it. Once I've finished, it will be uploaded so everybody can listen to it. When is your book on food and health supposed to be released again? I need to concentrate on another book about spirituality and psychedelics now. It will be released in a few months, and then I'll go straight to my food nutrition book. I had no idea after 10 years that someone is interested in it, but it looks like I can release it, so I'll do it. And yeah, I'll try to work on it as soon as possible because it's almost written. Like I wrote the whole. I have a few chapters already finished, but it was 10 years ago. My style has changed, so I'll need to re-edit it. And yeah, we'll see if it's a good read or whether I need to rewrite it. But there's a few more things I need to add to it. A lot has changed in those 10 years. I've learned a bit more about nutrition and health. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm definitely, because I even have the cover. Like it was all ready, but 80 publishers rejected it, and I got a bit discouraged. I just didn't understand how book publishing works. Like publishing books is a nightmare. This is, oh my God. If anyone knows anything about writing books, you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. It's the whole system is like trying to get Spielberg interested in your script. It's the same. You need a publisher first. You need someone who review it. It's there are agents. It's the whole system, and then you get like 5% from the final price. So it's complicated. But I'm gonna do everything myself. I'm gonna self-publish everything. So yeah. Okay. Quickly, anything else? Why legumes are bad? You'll when you listen to the whole thing again, being high on fruit diet. Well, it's fructose. Fructose will get you high. Well, you can listen to it again. Okay. What have I learned in the 10 last year? What have you learned in the last 10 years about food that significantly changed? Not much. What I'm saying is my writing skills. I basically changed the way I was trying to be funny. You know, back then I thought I'll write a smart book and I'll try to be funny, and I wasn't funny. I am really not. That was before I started doing stand-up. By the way, some of you don't know this, but some of you know this, but I was doing stand-up in New York for some time. So I'm actually going to do it sooner or later. I'll go back to it because I was getting good when I stopped. So yeah, I love stand-up, but that's something else. That's not about sugar. So honey is a very good subject. Honey is refined sugar. It's by the way, that's bee spit. I don't know if you know this, how honey is produced. That's bees spitting something and you eat it then. And I read a story, I'm not sure if it's true, it's one of the urban legends probably. Bears are the only ones who get teeth cavities, who get bad teeth, and apparently it's from eating honey. So bears are the only ones who have teeth problems like humans, but it's from eating honey. But it might be an urban legend. I don't know if it's true. Honey is not really too healthy, especially processed honey. Maybe if you get something straight from a beehive, then maybe. But it's sugar. It's pure sugar. It's sure. I think it's pure glucose. So no, it's insulin spikes again. So okay. Thank you very much for everything. It was really nice talking to you. I really enjoyed it. It's the longest podcast I've ever done. So it will be available for everybody to listen. If you have any suggestions, contact me, let me know. Again, I would like to ask you to donate because, again, there's a lot of energy I've put into this research. It would be nice for you to support the whole thing, both Peter Hedron and my other channels. I will put everything in the video description. It would be really nice if you can help me out. You have all types of methods. Everything's listed. So thanks again, guys. I wish you a pleasant afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.